And then,
Good morning. Happy Friday to you, Sineria. How are you?
I am great. How are you, Ava?
I am just, you make my day. Just living, seeing you, your beautiful, bright smile, totally make my day. So thank you so much for coming on to iAvva.ai, Innovate with Authenticity this morning. And for you who are listening, iAvva Innovative Authenticity is where we're really bringing in that how what it takes to thrive in the tech world. And today we have our special guest, Sineria. She is the VP of the External Affairs from Comerica Bank. And she changed my life last year. She met me for 15 minutes at one of the conference, and she really helped me to shine uh, as one of the small minority business in Houston. So thank you so much,
You
Sineria.
are most.
Yeah, and just from your from what I know of you, from your interaction, you have such in-depth. It's just, sometimes I interact with you, I just have literally goosebumps how we're able to connect and how you really care. So today I'd love to dive in a lot more about how your journey of fostering strong, meaningful connections across diverse communities and how do we connect that to innovations in what we do in purposeful leaderships and in the tech world. So are you
Oh,
ready?
yes, we are. Thank you, Ava, for having me on. And I'm just always excited to also talk with you and learn about your journey because you are what I think the story represents showing up in the growth and coming and building a support system along that comes along with you and where that journey takes you.
Thank you. Thank you. Literally, I feel just such a warm feelings just every time I talk to you. So the first question I'd love to ask you is like you have such a diverse and impactful career from fostering community investments to leading that Hispanic business development at Comerica. What drives your passion for creating such connections between communities and business?
Yeah. So before kind of going into what my role is now, what I do, I think I want to take us a bit back into what I'm about, what I do, and then how that fits into the work that I do now. And so for me, it has always been very important to connect with the individual. It's people first. So in all of my line of work that I've been able to do, I specifically chose a diverse background of, industries, opportunities to, because for me, it's about being people centric. And when you're people centric, you care. The work that we do is hard, but the people you build it with is even more important. And I've always been, that has always been a value that in order for us to grow, that we have to make sure that other individuals are also getting opportunities, and that if you're there at that intersection of where they may find themselves, that you just help them and guide them to that next stage. And so that is who I am. I feel that I've been very fortunate that I've had people that have also walked alongside me and have opened the door, made an introduction, and it has meant the world. So when it comes to about the work that you do, the title that you carry first, you have to be people centric. You have to care about the person. And if you're wanting to change the dynamics to our community, if you change one life, you will enhance, be creating a ripple effect into that individual who will go and manifest and also do great things for someone else in their community. And so it's, taking the micro and the macro approach and saying, can you combine a little bit of both? But if you treat people right, you do it for the right reasons, that will naturally lead to growth for others. And so that's the send. That's what I've always been about. The work that I do now is connect those opportunities and champion the organizations that are now building these robust programs that are helping our community succeed. And I do that through my work at Comerica Bank as external affairs and the National Hispanic Business Development Manager. But an important aspect of how I show up is that I wasn't born here. I was born outside. I was born in Central America. So for me, it was coming into the United States and learning, navigating as our cultural identity in the new world where there's other cultural identities as well at play. And it has enriched my life because I've learned a little bit from everyone. And so I think that once we funnel that into really the cultural intelligence and the global economy that we're a part of, and that our communities at the center of that greatness of the work that is to become. So that's a little bit about me and the work that I do.
That's beautifully, and it's such a well said scenario because everything you said, like I can even tease it out. Every little sentence you said there has meaning to it. I remember very much when I first met you, you're really truly people centric, and it does relate so much into the tech world nowadays. We have our clients, especially we do a lot online facing projects. It's about getting to understanding the challenge of the client. So people centric is so important, but you also bring in that aspect of cultural intelligence and technologies, especially in the hybrid world. We work in both, physical world, but we also, after COVID, we're doing a lot of hybrid. So how do we keep that connected? And when I met you, I just felt a sense, you're like, oh, Ava, I just overheard you for 5 minutes. I've got you. So that's totally changed my life. I can't tell you that day I was like, okay, let's just go to this conference. There's some days that you're really trying your best, and then I had other meetings and I came a little late, and then there you are. It's just that 5 minutes that we talked changed my life. I just came home and I felt like so much more hopes. I came out from big consulting projects and I really wanted to build that connections, how to serve the community in Houston and come back to in technology. So you totally did it for me. So thank you for being here today and sharing your experience. So continue to talk about that culture intelligence and technologies. In your experience, how does embracing culture roots influence innovation, especially within your community, Hispanic or even diverse community in Houston? So could you share a moment when this connection between the culture and innovation become particularly clear to you?
Yes, and just great question. And I think it has to first do with knowing who you are, your identity. And when we find ourselves around, in America with so many other cultural plays, and you've learned, you become adaptive, but you do it still remaining with who you are, the cultural identity. And that is important because I think it opens up opportunities for us to learn from others, but also understand what makes us unique. And so we're never, when we talk about this global space or the global spectrum of all of us, is that we've become, I think, a little bit of that melting pot or that mosaic. And that's what makes, this country beautiful in this essence when we're all at play here. Now, when we talk about innovation, cultural and innovation, there's a lot to say with who you are, what you bring, or what we've learned from our parents, and this problem solving ability that in other countries it can look a little different. And so it's not leaving that outside of the work that you do, but bringing it into the work that you do, because then that gives you 2, 3, sometimes 4 levels of problem solving that maybe no one else can see. And I think that that's really when we're building, talk about team building, high performing teams, and building the diversity in thought, in opportunity, and in problem solving. And then when we talk about innovation, often people say, well, we can't talk about innovation because we're trying to build a new technology. But it's simply said is innovation is a new idea of thinking, of reframing a question, of reframing a problem that leads to the next big idea generating that leads to technology. And so that's where I often have to come back and say, that's the work that we do in the community here in Houston. It's how are we leveraging opportunities? And we don't do it alone. We do it through the partnerships that we have with nonprofits, 501(c)(3)s. They're building a lot of this program and are building a lot towards professional development. And so on that professional development, whether we're talking about emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, is that we need more of who you are so that you can bring it and at the workplace and truly build out the new ideas or generate new ideas that are going to get us to the next big thing. And so if that kind of helps in where we are, but again, you have to be grounded in who you are, what you understand, what you are learning from other entities, and then using it for, I think, the next greatest thing is where our opportunity and where we see the potential in the community. Because the community, we meeting you, we would have never intersected. But imagine the other Avas and wonderful individuals in our community that are strong, that are resilient, that are problem solving in ways that we haven't even been able to tap. And so getting that potential and being, connecting them with programs that are really going to generate what we hope the new tomorrow would look like is at the center of the work that we do.
That is that is so warming. It's just heartwarming to hear that scenario. You're just also touching on the core importance of knowing our identity, knowing who we are, and that's definitely something that I continue to hone in as I'm bringing into the work that I do with clients right now, like coming from big consulting companies. Sometimes we're working on big projects and innovation is everywhere, but more and more, just like to what you said, recently this summer, I had a chance to travel and I came back. I shared with you, I came back and see my folks in Vietnam, and it changes everything because even my aunt, she's over 80 years old, and she's really amazing. She's remember everything, and I even live with her for a year. It's just a culture when we're younger. It's a very collective. And she said, "Remember, Ava, you remember where you coming from." And she didn't even have to say much more, but I literally feel that sense of belonging when she say it, because just being near her, like being in collective group, I know where I'm from, and I bring that into the work that I do with clients now, because only, just like you say, innovation is coming from different ideas. And how do we bring in ourselves? Everyone have a perspective, innovation coming from that diverse voice. So if we're losing who we are, or we don't know who we are, how can we really be um, at the forefront of our ideas and be really putting it out there? Because you never know, something that we might be thinking inside whether it might work could be a breakthrough, and our voice matters. Everyone's voice in the system matter. So thank you for touching on that. So as a leader, working closely with the Hispanic Business Resource Group, and how do you ensure the diverse needs meets like within that technological initiatives? And could you share with me a time when you feel like you are navigated a difficult situation relating to this?
So, well, first of all, again, I don't do this work alone. I mean, our team in external affairs are phenomenal, are diverse. And we also work with our national community partner, Latoya Roll, and she's the one who leads the business resource group. I am the person, as National Hispanic Business Development Manager, get to work with a lot of organizations that are Hispanic led, let's say Hispanic serving. Now that's different, that's also in addition to serving my community, all the community here in Houston. But I would say that when we are talking about building relationships nationally, what does this look like, or what do we see as opportunities or ways where we can kind of come in? And I think it's more than anything getting understanding that the banking world is also a place for learning, or that the experts within the bank, that we're building bridges with the communities that we're serving. That's, I think, the true essence of where that work is. And then where we take it from is, what does that look like for banking services, or programming for our Hispanic audience? And that looks different across the different markets, depending on what the needs are, depending on the region, depending, example, Houston, you have a very diverse group of Latinos within, we're 43%, I believe, in Harris County. And so understanding the diversity within the Hispanic audience, it's really important. And the way that we see it in external affairs is, what does that look like to build out programs that are not just are culturally relevant, but also sound, language based? And so I serve the National Hispanic Business Development role. However, we have other roles within the bank. We have our National African American Business Development Manager, our Middle Eastern relationship manager, and then development manager, sorry per se. And then we have our AAPI, Asian Pacific Islander business development manager as well. Why? Because we're wanting to make sure that as a bank that we are listening, understanding what the needs of our community are, and that's the role that we serve. And then how do we bring that back into the bank? That leads to creating opportunities or programming or support in other ways, to kind of create that bridge with the communities, the diverse communities that we serve.
Yeah, that is fantastic. There's so many you touch on. And just to even dive in a little bit about the topic of community-driven innovation, how do you see the role of community feedback in driving innovation at Comerica Bank? And if you have any example of that input led to significant change or new initiative, I'd love to hear it.
I think most of the work, all of the work that we do is community driven. It's easy for any entity or person to come in and say, hey, we think that maybe this is where we can support the community, but it's taking a step back and really understanding what the needs of the community are, because you have to be community minded. And so we are guided by a collection of feedback also that we get from the community about what some of those needs are. And so whether, that is, what is the need for families in Houston when it comes to affordable housing, and the new data that we're seeing about Houston and the, affordability. What does affordability mean now? If you're a single income, or, for a family, what does that look like? And then there's the question on entrepreneurship. What does it really look like to build technical assistance, to build the support system that our diverse entrepreneurs need to succeed in today's world? And so all of that is guided by what we're hearing in the community, and leveraged through the partnerships that we have with our nonprofit partners. And really, we're partners. We're not there to tell the partners, hey, this is what we know. It's more about, hey, what are we seeing as the needs and are the opportunities for our entrepreneurs, for our communities? Or sometimes when we're doing, work within our student body, they are future leaders. What is it that they're needing in terms of career guidance to build out their lives in the next 5 to 10 years? And then how are we positioning other programming through our support about what that growth looks like? So everything, the decisions along those lines are really being thought partners with our community partners, with our nonprofit, about what that might look like, and then where we can truly drive the investments and the focus on our end. But if it's really all of us coming together and saying, what are the real needs? what does that look like, being guided by our community leaders about what that work looks like. And really, Ava, a lot of it is listening. A lot of our work is listening um, to what that looks like in the different communities or the different, because even in Houston, from the north side to the southwest to the east end to the west side of town, we're looking at, different areas of, I call them of opportunities, because our communities face challenge. But because of this resilience in our community, really, I always see things in the side of strength and the strength that they bring. And so it's working at making sure that that support is there. And again, just being mindful of what those needs are. I think positions us, the external affairs team, the team in Comerica, about truly serving with that purpose and being servant leaders to that work.
Yeah. Yes. So I've noticed you are present, you are mindful. The thing is that this is not the only time we've met. I've seen you at all of this events. So it's really wonderful to see you're present there and hone in and really listen and make introduction and create connections. And as you're listening, you probably heard about something called AI technology in this our world age. So do you, with your extended experience in fostering community connections, and your role at Comerica Bank, how do you see the integration of AI and technology influence the culture, identity, and intelligence? Like, for example, how do you see technology can be leveraged to preserve and promote culture and identity, but also driving innovation and inclusivity in any other aspect? Love to hear your thoughts.
I will bring it directly back to our younger audience. So specific focus is, like the work that we're doing on career trajectory or STEM building for middle school, high school students, and even what we're seeing at the college level. Why? Because technologies are ever changing. You have to expect some change within what's the rate now, 2 to 3 years in the rate in the speed of technology. So it's not things that we cannot overlook. I think they're a part of our everyday. And for younger audiences, they are are early adapters. Whereas before, when we talked about technology and you look at your line of customers and say, okay, the early adopters are, that percentage is small, but we're seeing that it's now expected. That's the part of the culture that we're a part of. So when we're supporting STEM building opportunities or activities, I think that AI is a topic of conversation for a lot of our younger audiences, because they want a quick adaptation to it and they want to learn about it so that they can integrate it. And we talk about the efficiency of work and efficiency of work. I'm also tapping into my previous role in being project management feeding, again, into efficiencies of workflows and what does that look like, and creating a lot of centralized work for improving communications, but also in how the work is laid out. But what I would say to specific to your question is that we are looking at how are we supporting our young audiences in the tech space? What does that look like? And so it's the career aspect building of it. So whether you're going to AI or whatever the new technology is and into the tech space, are we coming back in the sense of building those or connecting those opportunities to our communities, with connecting them with individuals and entrepreneurs where they can see themselves in the future to build out the new technologies. I think it's where we kind of come in and say, we know it's important. We know it's a topic, especially within our STEM career pathways for our students. So what does it look like to build those opportunities and connect them with individuals that are already within this space? Because again, we want to make sure that they are a part of that conversation, that they're a part of that programming. And you have other nonprofits here who are building up a lot within the tech ecosystem space. for the diverse groups that we were just mentioning, because it is, again, one, the focus of how many of our community or how many of our diverse communities are a part of the STEM building work or workforce, and where are we in that percentage, and then align with that, then how do we guide them that when they get into those careers in STEM building, that again, that professional development is still a part, and that their growth is aligned with that direction. So I don't know, it was pretty broad, but I hope I'm answering the question about its importance and why, again, coming back and cultivating it within our community so that they are part of the role and the work and the STEM workforce and the conversations on when it comes to tech incubation in the city.
Yeah, thank you, Sineria. It definitely sounds you care a lot about the future youth, their career growth developments, how to integrate them, how to help them to grow within Houston's and their career as well. So our time is coming to an end, and I have to ask you these questions as as we're mentioning about future leaders, these technologists, these youth. What advice would you give to emerging leaders who want to make an impact both in their career and communities, especially maintaining that authenticity we're talking about in the rapid change in the tech landscape like AI?
My advice is, I think, to not be afraid of being who you are, to not be afraid to extend and reach out to a person that you may see in the space where you would like to be, and especially when you see them show up authentically, because it takes a lot of work for you to be comfortable. It's easy, it's an easy word to say, just be yourself, and everyone says it, but you honestly have to put practice at what that looks like. And what I am always guiding our young leaders is, when you enter the workforce and whatever work that you decide to do, remember that we need individuals with those diverse perspectives. We need individuals as the backgrounds that they're coming from, because I think that that's what's going to give our leaders an opportunity to really dive into who they are, but not leaving behind who you are will be, I think, so important in serving the purpose of the work that you're wanting to do. Because then when you come back and you are connecting with another person that came from your school, came from your community, that you are never disconnected from that truth of who you are. But it does take work. And so, follow up or reach out to individuals who you have seen have created that kind of center of purpose. My work, what I do at Comerica Bank and External Affairs for South Texas, has been, I did this work when I didn't have the title. I did this work when I was not working at Comerica, because I believe so much about the opportunities that exist in my community. I saw the potential and I believed in that potential. And so this is the work that I did when no one was looking and when I wasn't getting paid for it, because it came back to, this is what I believe, this is my value, this is what I embody. And follow that passion and pursue that purpose. And it's okay to ask for guidance or ask for help, and put in the work to find a mentor as well, or reach out, and then while you're going through your journey, just don't forget who you are, because that might be that breakthrough that we're talking about, that one idea that no one else was able to see but you, because of that unique opportunity in your life. And so that's a strength, it's an asset that you should bring to the workforce, that the workforce needs from you. And so that is my biggest advice to everyone who is listening in our young audiences.
Yeah, that is such a great way to and really authentic, and it's really encompassed everything is all about Scenario. Really great way to end our conversation today. It's really speak to who you embrace and be true to yourself, but also really bring in your passions, your purpose, whether it's your formal job title or not, and then everything will fall past because it's not a loss. Like you're building the career around you, you're building your community, and you helping other at the same time. So thank you so much, Sineria. Literally, after this conversation, I already feel like the energy shifted from the morning with meetings. So having this intimate time with you here really make that weekend, the long weekend ahead for me. So once again, thank you so much for coming on the iAvva.ai Innovate with Authenticity. Is there any other last word you'd like to say before we end this conversation?
Thank you, Ava, for your time. Thank you all for having and staying this long to listen. And hopefully, if you were ping or something was ignited, please share your comments. Please reach out to Ava. Ava, you have just been amazing to know. You're following through on things. So I know that any questions, comments that people place, that you would also be as responsive to them. So I think that this is the beginning of a broader conversation and it doesn't have to end here. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Sineria. Happy, wonderful Friday. Thank you for listening into iAvva.ai Innovate with Authenticity. Have a great weekend and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.